you want. And that is how I approach this matter. Like I said, what is about masterpiece? A masterpiece, like I said in summary, is a handiwork that is excellent, that is very creative, and is complete. You cannot equate any such thing with who our Master and the Lord Jesus Christ is. It's not possible for anybody to equate anything to it. But if you see the complete conclusion of the matter on the cross of Calvary, that is the masterpiece. When the Lord was hanging on the cross of Calvary, that is the masterpiece. It cannot be equated to anything. Now we are physical, and so in my study of a planned economy for a nation like Ghana and Africa, and indeed the world, it has to be nothing but a masterpiece. If it's not that, then just forget about it. And I think this well thought of 24-hour economy as it's been espoused is indeed a masterpiece, and I'll prove it to you as we go along. Dovetail it into our own legal existence, the Ghanaian legal existence. Very important. Now, so Ghana, as you all know, existed well over 65 years now. I'm almost 75, so I'm older than Ghana, and I'm a Gold Coaster. Those of you who are typical Ghanaians, this is more to you because your country is barely 65 years old. But we remain like virtually an emancipated kind of economy we exist in. In local parlance, we call it Koshoko. You know, in the management of the economy, the social, aspect of our life and our political governance is completely emancipated. Now, since the experimentation of the Fourth Republican democracy, which is based on the 1992 Constitution, and we will refer to it extensively, the nation, Ghana, has been laboring and bleeding ceaselessly to give birth to an economic system to take us to the next level without success. Because we have never been able to succeed outside the temporary kind of benefit the nation derived out of the Kwame Nkrumah's era. The 7-year development plan, and I'll prove to you why we'll have to pick some of the good things from there and add value to it for our purpose. Now we are suffering, and I remember the Supreme Court, chaired by Justice Atuguba, at a point in time when some media people were said to be misbehaving, and they brought them before the court. This particular Ghana word was used extensively that time. They call it Kokobibli. Kokobibli is like suffering from Bibli. Bibli is what in English? Seizure.
Sir John.
Yes, he also, but one other gentleman also was referred to him. So clearly, that is where we are now. Ghana is suffering from virtually like a seizure, from Kokobibli. Complete, that's where we are now. And we need to be redeemed. And God will not jump into Ghana in the spirit form to come and redeem us. We will have to use a body. It may not be a clergyman, it may not be a pastor, like some of us. It may be an ordinary person, but who has certain qualities to be used. And that's where we are now. So we need to move out from this kind of partisan, parochial kind of thinking and align ourselves with what is appropriate. So my presentation today and next week Saturday, God willing, because soon after that I have to be in Zimbabwe to do a similar presentation. Sometimes maybe a prophet is without honor in his home country, but I want to believe in this case you cannot escape it because of what I saw. Nobody can escape it, and it's better we listen carefully and align ourselves with it. It may redeem the nation. Later, some people who are ambitious to become president and play leadership role in the country can come in. But you have no choice than to stay focused with what has been built, because Ghanaians will not allow anybody to misbehave with their destiny again. I think so. Remember, I worked with a group, there are about 6 million people, so we can also influence the election next time. Because after this, I'm going to be meeting their leaders and egg them on to enable us to do what is right. But I'm not going to go into the gutter like you will do with your language. And so, we have, as you know, submitted ourselves. This is the 17th time to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Why have we done that to ourselves? Why has Ghana, as a democratic nation, having its own constitution and elected people, who you envisage that having elected them, they will lead you to have both political and especially economic prosperity, to be able to feed yourselves, have your children well educated, and live a reasonably good life until death do you part from this world. What I think has happened so far, remember, I'm not just 45 years old. I respect people who are 45 years, but I have seen Ghana. I was in Accra as far back as 1965 and happened to be around before Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. I know how we were living, and fortunately I've had the opportunity to be a 2-term member of parliament and a deputy minister in employment and labor ministry in charge of industrial relations. I know what it takes to be in cabinet meeting, and so I think that it's important that we don't just take anybody for granted. Many people who are parading themselves today don't have experience some of us have, by God's grace. So I think that it's important we appreciate one another and allow things to flow naturally. The models, the economic models we have used outside of the 7-year development plan of the late Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah never went. Never went. Even the Kwame Nkrumah's 7-year development plan got truncated along the line because of the way we ourselves were harassing him and not giving him opportunity to even do what he wanted to do. Some people even wanted to kill him, you know. So he also had to defend himself, and in so doing, made maybe some erratic mistakes, you can call it so, and people didn't take it kindly, and so forth and so on. Both MPP and NDC run the same economic models, except at a certain point in time, there was a little shift, and I'll tell you that in a short, in a jiffy. So I describe what we have used all these 17 times that we have been to the IMF as anachronistic. Something old, something junk, virtually. Our economic models we have used never worked. And the evidence is clear. I don't need to tell you. So if you can't see it, you better pray God to help you to see it. But I maintain it's anachronistic, virtually useless. And the evidence is abounds. And we are in IMF, the 17th time. And some people are dictating to us, telling us what to do and what not to do. I am terribly against that. And I think that's the premise in which I had an interesting encounter and would like to share it with you people. I recall I was invited not too many, but some 2.5, let's call it 3 years ago, or a little more than that, to the World Bank headquarters. There was going to be some major changes to be made in our some part of our economic system, and I was invited by the World Bank. I traveled from New York by road with some of my children. All the way they wanted me to come by air, and I told them I want to come by road. And so I went from New York to Washington and met them, and they were flabbergasted or surprised to learn from me the extent to which we could do things differently. And I executed what they wanted me to do for them. I got paid for it. Part of the money, part of the other monies, that's what you see in this building here. So thank God for that. And I think that they know that we have the capacity as a nation to be able to manage ourselves properly. But because we are selfish people, we don't want to support people who have the capacity